everyone, and welcome to the fourth session. I hope you're enjoying this series as I'm enjoying. I hope it is affecting your life as it is affecting my life. And if this is the first episode of you, is the first time of you watching this series, I want you to go back and listen to the first three sessions. And we are on session 4, and we are talking about 5 things you need to know about loneliness. All of these things I'm talking about is coming from my book that I'm writing right now, about healing the lonely heart. And I'm taking some of the nuggets from that book and sharing it with you. And I'm happy to get your comments. I'm happy to get your likes. I'm happy to get the feedbacks that you're giving me about how this series is impacting and is challenging your life. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel to get the latest video, the latest message, the latest information I'm releasing to help you have a better life. And so today, I'm talking about dealing with shame. And so this is the fourth thing what we're talking about, and this is so important that I had to do a separate session just to deal with shame. Shame is such a plague in society. There are many people that are suffering from shame, but no one knows about it. And I suffer from shame for so long. And one of the reasons why many people suffer from shame and they hide it is because we usually don't know the difference between shame and guilt. And I want to start by first of all defining what shame is, and I'll go to define what the difference between shame and guilt. Shame simply says, I am something wrong. When you feel the sense of shame, there's an internal dialogue on the inside of you in your heart that says, I am something wrong. Shame says that because you did something wrong, you are something wrong. But that's different from guilt. Guilt says, I did something wrong, but I'm better and I'm going to change because this is not who I am. But shame says, because I did this, this is my identity. You see, shame connects you to what you have done. Shame connects you to your past, to your errors, to your mistakes. Shame imparts upon you an identity that's not really who you are. Shame says that because you come from a broken home, it means that your life is insignificant. It means that you will not achieve anything in life. Shame says that because your relationship didn't work, it means that you are a bad person. It means that you are not a successful person. Shame always connects you to what you have done. Shame labels you with an identity that's not who you are. When I grew up as a child, I had a lot of shame in my life because of the environment that I grew up. I didn't grow up in a very wealthy home, and so we lacked sometimes, we struggled sometimes. And because of that, I always just felt inferior in the midst of my friends. I remember I would go to school and my friends would come to school, and every one of them, they have a lunch bag, or their parents have probably given them money for break to be able to have something to eat. And I never had money for break. I was never given money to eat in school most of the time. And so I felt shame. I felt like, oh, I wish I was from this family. Oh, I wish their parents were my parents. And so I didn't like to talk about myself because my upbringing, my environment, the home that I grew up with told me that I was something wrong, told me that I wasn't good enough, told me that my identity is poverty, my identity is brokenness, my identity is I am not even intelligent. Because I had so much shame, I found it difficult to think that I was intelligent more than my peers. And I was actually far more intelligent more than most of them, but I would always look at them with envy because I had this shame, and this shame brought a lot of loneliness in my heart. And so, are you suffering from shame? There are a lot of people that are suffering from shame, and when you are suffering from shame, it paralyzes you. Shame paralyzes you. Shame makes you not to take initiatives. Shame makes you not to go out and face your destiny because you have been condemned already. For example, growing up, I knew that I was destined to be poor because from the family I came from. So I knew that poverty was my identity. And guess what? Because I knew that poverty was my identity, I didn't bother to take any steps to become prosperous and to become successful in life until I got my heart healed. And so there are a lot of you right now, you're probably listening to me, and there are things in your heart that you want to do, but there is an internal dialogue on the inside that tells you you are not good enough, that tells you you can't make it. That tells you you are not talented enough, and because of that you feel paralyzed. Shame will paralyze you. Shame is what keeps you sitting on the couch watching TV the whole day, instead of studying. For so long in school I thought I was not intelligent, and because of that I did not spend time studying, and because I did not spend time studying I had very bad results. But when I began to reclaim my identity and I began to study, my results began to improve, because shame was giving me an identity that is not my own. So what is the identity that shame has given you? What is it about your life that you have accepted, a lie that you have picked up, maybe from your upbringing or from circumstances that have happened in your life? Maybe terrible occurrences have happened over and over your life, and you finally embrace the mindset. You finally embrace the identity. I can't make it. I am not good enough. But a healthy lifestyle is to have guilt. You see, those people who came from a healthy background, who have a healthy sense of identity, they don't suffer from shame. They have guilt. What is guilt? Guilt tells you that you're better than this. When you have guilt, guilt raises you up to a higher place. For example, if you perform poorly in your studies, guilt says you are better than what you just did. You can become better. For example, if you're so struggling financially, guilt tells you you can become prosperous. Guilt is something that is healthy. As human beings, as people that will have to live and succeed in this world, we must develop a healthy sense of guilt, not shame. Because guilt would push you to become better. Guilt will push you to restore your relationships. When you have shame, you don't have the power to restore broken relationships, because you tell yourself the relationship is gone. What do I have to do? But when you have guilt, guilt tells you there is something I can do to restore my relationships. And so there are a lot of people that are suffering from shame, and I wanted to distinguish between shame and guilt, and I hope that you've learned the difference between shame and guilt. Shame is as a result of loneliness, as a result of that brokenness on the inside of you. Shame is a product that says that you're lonely, and when you're full of shame, usually it comes with a fear of rejection. And all throughout my life, I had such a sense of fear of rejection. And when you have a sense of fear of rejection, you work to perform. You perform everywhere you go, everywhere in your job, in your school. You perform to please people. That was my life. I was a performer. Many people will look at me and they'll say, "Oh, I really like this guy. The guy is quiet, he's nice, he's hardworking." And the reason why I did all of that was not just because I wanted to be hardworking, but it was because I wanted to please people, because I didn't want to be rejected. And there are a lot of people out there, you have not stepped into your purpose and destiny because you have a sense of rejection on the inside. You have rejected yourself. You feel that you're not good enough because shame has given you a wrong identity about yourself. And so learn to deal with that. Learn to deal with fear. And I love the meaning of fear that I heard somewhere. That fear stands for false evidence appearing real. You see, when you have a fear of rejection, you think that the world is against you. You think that your boss is against you, your parents is against you, your teachers are against you. When you have a sense of fear of rejection, you feel like the whole world is against you. You feel like life is not treating you fairly. But that is just a false evidence, and it's because you're suffering from shame. And I want you to get your heart healed so you can deal with shame and deal with the fear that has plagued your heart. So I hope that you've learned something about the difference between shame and guilt, and I hope that you've learned something about the fear of rejection. If what I'm talking about has blessed you, has imparted you, please write to me, please send me a comment, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. And part 2 of this session, of this 4th session, I'll be talking about how to deal with shame. How to deal with shame. The first part, I just wanted to just bring the distinction about how to work in guilt and how to work in shame, and the reason, the cause of shame, and how shame impacts upon a wrong sense of identity. So I hope it has blessed you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and look forward. The next video coming up is going to be how to deal with shame. You can't wait to hear that. Thank you.